Hello, buddy, and welcome back to Red Devils TV. So, this is a sale update, and we've got some big news today from Daily Mail talking about how Surgeon Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim, or Qatar as we know him, are in the dark over the Glazers, thinking and timetable for the sale of Manchester United, with stories about the Brits being in pole position, believed to play to be squeezed out even by bigger bids. So what it seems to be is that Surgeon Ratcliffe and the Qataris are in the dark over the sale of Manchester United, which is frustrating, really, because at this point I'm starting to get frustrated with it and start to talk. I want it to be over at this point now. I prefer QATAR'S, and I want them to be the Manchester United new owners. But if Surgeon Ratcliffe wants, at this point, I just want the Glazers out at this point. And for me, Surgeon Ratcliffe, I feel like it's not just Surgeon Ratcliffe. I also think with the Qataris as well, there are holes in both deals and what will actually happen, and well, pretty much like the actual outcome and the way they want to run the club and the way they want to actually. I'm trying to think of the words, to be honest. Like the way they want from the club almost, and their vision. That's what I was looking for. Their vision of how they want Manchester United to be run. There's holes in both of them, and there's kind of dark areas on what's going to happen. The Qataris have seen to have a more financial plan and how to restore Manchester United almost, but haven't talked about any domestic success. While Surgeon Ratcliffe with the financial side is quite in the dark, but he's all talking about like pretty much all the brand and all the exposure and just making Manchester United great again. But for me, the reason why I prefer Qatar, and at first I was uncomfortable with state ownership. The thing is that you look at Newcastle, you look at Man City, you look at PSG, eventually, like the Qataris, if they lose this deal with Manchester United, what's stopping them for going buying Aston Villa or Liverpool or I don't even know, Brighton? What's stopping them to go buying them and making them a dominant European side and a dominant side in the Premier League? And the thing is, United can't be like, we need to catch up with our oppositions and our opponents and our enemies, and we need to make sure that we are competing with the best. And to do that, you need to have the most money. And unfortunately, it's a crap way of the way football is run nowadays, but that's the way football is at this point, and it is very frustrating. But at the end of the day, that's the way football is. So what would you rather be left behind by everyone else, or continue and challenge for every single trophy possible? I mean, Manchester United have proven this season exactly that you can have crap ownership and still win trophies. United, obviously, I can't really speak for that much because it's our first trophy we've won in 5 years. But when you've got the right manager and when you've got the right team, the right philosophy, the right vision, under a manager, anything is possible. You look at Brighton with De Zerbi, a well-run football club that aren't mega rich, and they are probably a bogey team for probably every single team in the Premier League. I mean, they've beaten Manchester United in recent times. Obviously, we beat them in the FA Cup semi-final, but they beat us in the league twice. Obviously, I mean, at the time of recording that right now, I'm pretty sure they're beating Arsenal 1-0 as well. So, like Brighton, they're a perfect example. Like, and Leicester as well. When Leicester won the league, I think it was in 2015-2016 season. They won that league fair and square because they just had a crazy run of games. They were just unstoppable, and they won the league fair and square. So for me, I personally feel like that ownership plays a massive part in football. But at the end of the day, you can't be left behind. And I feel like with Manchester United, we deserve, like, we're still the third highest earning revenue club in the world. I mean, well, technically fourth, but Man City don't count because of all the financial fair plays, and they're going to be relegated into League Two at some point. But anyway, but behind Real Madrid and Barcelona, Manchester United are the third highest earning revenue team. If you want to add Man City, then you can say we're the fourth. But still, we still generate over $500 million each season when it comes to revenue, which is crazy. And it just shows that if we got the Qataris as our new owners, financially, we are sorted, in my opinion. And yes, I know financial fair play would come bite us in the ass because of all of the high wages and stuff Manchester United recently had. So it wouldn't be like the Qataris would mega spend in the first season. Like people think, oh, get Camavinga, Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, spend about 500 million on like 4 different players who are absolute world stars. That wouldn't happen. Manchester United, and it's not about that either. You look at Newcastle. Newcastle are a great example. A very rich club who have slowly developed players and slowly brought in the correct players, and now they're challenging for top 4. And they've done that within, what, less than 2 seasons of the new ownership. So Manchester United were already challenging for top 4 under Eric Ten Hag. And when he gets the proper backing from whoever it is, whether it is Sir Jim Ratcliffe or the Qataris, then we know that Ten Hag is going to succeed. And it's all about the backing, because the Glazers for so long now have proven that they don't back the managers. You look at Jose Mourinho, he wanted the likes of Perisic. I think it was what team was he at? I think it might have been Inter Milan or Bayern Munich, whoever he was at. And what happened was they wanted the team for Perisic anyway wanted 45 million, and the Glazers would only play 40 million. So then they walked away from the deal, and that was, I think, Jose Mourinho's like key player for the summer, and we didn't get him, which was unfortunate. Again, we were going to go for Gundogan, who's now at Man City, who's had a brilliant career. His contract was up at Dortmund, and Manchester United were leading the race. The Glazers couldn't agree on the wages, and he went off to Man City. And look what he's done there. He was a key player for them today in their victory against Everton. I mean, there's been too many times where Man United haven't gone after a certain player, and the development, the training ground, everything needs upgrading. And if you've heard what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said the other day, he turned around and said that the sale needs to happen. Now, I made a little video about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on TikTok, so if you want to watch that, you can go watch it. It's only 60 seconds long, so if you'd like to go watch that, give it a watch. But it's pretty much Ole Gunnar Solskjaer speaks out about the Glazers, saying that Old Trafford has been neglected, the training ground has been neglected, and it's time for them to go. Just take the money, whoever it is, whether it's Sir Jim Ratcliffe or the Qataris, and just leave Manchester United. That's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said. Now, as we know, certain Manchester United managers have to sign a contract if they get sacked. Obviously, they get all their money and stuff, but then they have to sign a probation period where they can't say anything negative about the club for a certain amount of time. And it seems that the time for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was about 18 months probation. So that's when, obviously, he got sacked. I think it was in the December against Watford, just before pre-season. Just before the January transfer window, because we had that Mason Greenwood stuff happen. It was before Martial went on loan to Seville. So, obviously, that it's been about 18 months since then. So, yeah, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer speaks out. So let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments. Anyway, some people in the comments here. Simon Davis, love the channel. Look forward to this debate it needs talking about, and there's so many different opinions on it, Dan. I agree, and that's what's brilliant, and that's why I wanted to try and get some United fans on here today. But unfortunately, no one wanted to come on. So if you know anyone that would like to come onto the channel, obviously they're more than welcome. Anyone in the comments down below, you're also more than welcome to join a live stream. All you need is a phone, and I'll send you the link if you would be interested. Simon again saying, but the Glazers are milking United for every penny of the rats. They are, and that's what businessmen are like. Businessmen aren't normal thinking human beings. They are literally have the brain size of an ant's bollock. That's literally what they have. And all they think about is green. And it's kind of ironic because Manchester United are green and gold till the club is sold, but all the Glazers care about is that green money, that dollar bill with Sir Benjamin Franklin, whatever the fuck he's called on it. But the thing is that the Glazers are going to want to milk Manchester United dry for every single penny possible, and that's how it's good. That's how it's going to happen. Let's have a look as well. Simon, they are beating Arsenal, so that'll be about Brighton. Simon as well. That's why the Glazers ain't going anywhere until they get what they want. United have a loyal fan base. I like to think so. Manchester United fan base is very divided at the moment as well. The Glazers have succeeded at that, divided Manchester United fan base as always. And it's very frustrating to be a part of because you've got certain fans saying that. Obviously, I think 99% of fans want the Glazers to go. I can't actually think of one United fan out there that I personally know that wants the Glazers to stay. So for me, I personally feel like with the Glazers, it's just basically their time to go. But obviously, the talks of the money that's being generated right now is between £5 to £6 billion, which is a crap load of money and a lot more than what they actually bought the club on, and all the debts they've put Manchester United in. It's ridiculous. Phoenix Fantasy Football Show. Hi, pal, how are you doing? I think this is Thomas. But will the QATAR'S or Sir Jim Ratcliffe allow Ten Hag to get the players we need? I'm pretty sure, because I feel like that what's good about both the possible new owners is that they've both been clearly open about they would back Eric Ten Hag and that they'd keep Eric Ten Hag. So obviously, but look, I think of Todd Bowley at Chelsea. Tuchel wasn't the guy that he wanted, so he sacked him, and because he wanted his own manager. But both possible new owners have both said that Eric Ten Hag they want to keep. So that's all that I care about, really. And they have said that they would put investment into the team, but it just depends how much they'd need. So for me, I feel like the QATAR'S would probably spend a lot more, but Sir Jim Ratcliffe would probably maybe look at the more like the players that maybe have 1 year left in the contract, kind of the cheaper deals, but see if Eric Ten Hag kind of wants them. So I feel like QATAR'S would probably get Eric Ten Hag the players that he wanted more. So like Frankie de Jong, for example, if Barcelona wanted 130 million, I feel like QATAR'S would just slap that down on the table saying, right, thank you, we'll take him. He's now a Manchester United player. But I feel like with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he would try and negotiate that. So that's the way I think. But I think it's also about the infrastructure and them employing the right people at the same time, because our scouts and our negotiating salesmen are crap. And yes, you could say that our scouts have found players like Garnacho, and you could say they've found players like Martinez and Antony. But at the end of the day, the Antony and Martinez situation, they were already Eric Ten Hag players, and he wanted them at Manchester United anyway. So for me, I feel like the scouts haven't done very well on that. The youth development, again, as well, also needs upgrading. Anyway, read another comment. Eric Ten Hag is the man, and I am a blue. I know you like Eric Ten Hag a lot. He is the right manager, in my opinion. While I didn't know that, it makes sense now. Silence the manager. Yep, exactly. Phoenix, the fact we were offered Haaland 4 million, if I'm correct, and we didn't take him proves we need the Glazers to be out. I agree, pal. And that story, it's not just Haaland, though, at the same time. You think of Caicedo, who's had a brilliant career at Brighton. You think of Jude Bellingham, who we could have got from Birmingham, who went to Dortmund. And these players who have become absolute world stars, in my opinion. And Caicedo is still on his way, in my opinion. But you look at Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland, they're perfect examples. Them two players we could have got for a combined total of probably 19 million. I think it was 15 million for Jude Bellingham we were offered. And I think it was 4 million, like Phoenix has just said, for Haaland. And they've become probably the best young players in the world. So it is frustrating, but would them players have become the world beaters that they are today in Manchester United's youth setup, or in the under-21s, or in the under-18s, or going out on loan to the Championship? I don't think so. And obviously, everything happens for a reason, and it's clearly shown that Haaland and Bellingham and Caicedo weren't meant for Manchester United at that period of time. Simon as well, if they don't, then he will leave, end of. I'm not sure you mean about that. You might be meaning about Ten Hag, I'm going to guess. They can't close deals. Yep, I agree. I'm guessing that's about the Glazers. And again, because them leprechauns are pulling the strings. Yeah, I agree with that. And I watched a podcast called Pitchside, which is a brilliant podcast. So if you want to check out them, then they're absolutely brilliant. But with Pitchside, they have someone called Tom who's on there, and he turns around and says that he understands Manchester United fans' frustration. I think he's a Wigan fan or something. But he turned around and said, he was like saying, I understand Manchester United fans' frustration. It's like, but do you really think the Glazers care about your protests? They're there watching you on Sky Sports, marching down the streets of Manchester with your flares, your banners, your flags, and all that. And they're rubbing their hands together because they see about 50% of you in Manchester United shirts, and you've bought their shirts, and they're just there, just rubbing their hands because of how much money they've made. And I'm a hypocrite. I'm sat here wearing a Manchester United shirt right now, but for me, it's not about funding the Glazers. This is me wearing my club with pride on my chest. Now, yes, I'm not going to go to Turkey and wear a knockoff shirt because I'm not like that. But for me, I feel like that even though it's not about the Glazers anymore, and I feel like they know that they're going to go, but I feel like they're literally just squeezing all the juice out of the orange and just trying to get as much juice possible and trying to just leave Manchester United, leave the Glazers, leave Sir Ratcliffe, all the Qataris dry and take as much money as possible. Phoenix, but the fact we had the opportunity to have Haaland, but we refused to have him, and now he plays for a rival team. Glazers out now. I agree, pal, but with Haaland, the scouting, so this wasn't just the Glazers, this is also down to Richard Arnold and the scouts. They turned around and said that Haaland wouldn't make it because he's not a fast enough striker. Apparently, Manchester United are going for Harry Kane in the summer. Haaland's absolutely rapid, and that shows you what could happen with development. And you can't write off a player at that young age. Have we written off Garnacho? I don't think so, because he's been injured for the last 2 to 3 months, Garnacho. And what happened? He comes on off the substitution against Wolves. He's got a new contract, new hairstyle, new teeth, baby on the way, and scores the winning goal. Like, yes, United were already winning 1-0, but he scores in the 93rd minute and makes it 2-0. That makes the game dead and buried. So I feel like that. Would you tell me you could have Haaland at Manchester United if you go back in time, but you're not guaranteed the player that he is now at City? I would still take it because I really rate Haaland. Yes, this is when he was at the Norwegian club under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think it was. Was it? I can't remember the name. Not Malde. I can't remember the name. But it was before I went to RB Leipzig anyway. RB Salzburg. So with Haaland, he obviously, as we know, is a brilliant striker, and he has become he's probably going to win the Ballon d'Or in his first season for Man City. Obviously, it will be next season. It will be his second season for Man City, but at the age he is, Haaland's already broken the Premier League goal-scoring record. Like, he's going to come after every single record in the world. I don't think he's going to settle down in the Premier League and just become the all-time best Premier League goal scorer of all time. Because if Haaland stayed for about 10 to 12 years, I could honestly say that no one would beat that goal-scoring record. Because people said that about Alan Shearer, but look, there's always a player that's better than you. But I honestly don't think that with Haaland, City have still got, 3 games left to play? Or 2 games left to play? And Haaland can still score in both of them. And he's already broken the Premier League record. I think he scored today as well. So I think he's now scored, what is it? Is it 38 goals he scored this season in the Premier League? I'm not too sure. Let me have a quick look actually on the Premier League app. But just read a few more topics. Phoenix, I'll be covering to rumours of United Kane on my first video. Is that for the Fantasy Premier League? Yeah, I'll be tuning into that. If you want me to come on your channel, I'm more than happy to. Let's have a look. Phoenix, off topic, but Arsenal lost 3-0 to Brighton. Well, Brighton, like I said, are a bogey team. They can beat anyone on their day. I think they're absolutely superb, in my opinion. And yes, Simon, thank you for that. 36 goals, I've just confirmed it. Erling Haaland has got 36 goals, if you can't see that. So, yeah, that's just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not going to say he's going to get 40 goals in the Premier League, but probably 9 times out of 10, Haaland breaks his own record next season. Now he's actually adjusted to the Premier League, and now he knows what it's all about. I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks his own record. I would not surprise it at all. Simon, well said. You said Garnacho would start to come good. I'm starting to seeing it took his goal well yesterday. He did indeed. Like, yes, he hit it off the post, but again, I don't see Sancho making that run. I don't see Sancho beating that Wolves defender and getting ahead of him. I don't see Sancho completely leaving the goalkeeper leaving him like a scarecrow and just curling it in. But you know, it is what it is, and I'm pretty sure as well, Simon, considering you've just said that you're a blue as well, that I'm pretty sure that all City need now is to win their next game and they're Premier League champions. Now Arsenal have lost. I think that makes City 5 points ahead of him, or is it 4 points ahead of him? But I feel like once, let me just double check this quickly. So if you have a look at the table, let's have a look. Arsenal have 2 games left to play. City have 3 games left to play. So the best Arsenal can do now is get 87 points. So yeah, Man City are 1 win away from winning the Premier League, which was inevitable, really. Man City were always going to win this league. Yes, Arsenal fans were always going to be like, oh, we're in this race, this is this. That was Manchester United fans in 2020 in the COVID season. That's been Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp throughout the entirety of their season under the Pep Guardiola rule. Man City are special. And no matter what happens, that is always going to be their league. But as well, just speaking of Liverpool, so many people are surprised that Liverpool have gone on a run. Why? Jurgen Klopp and this Liverpool side have dominated the Premier League. Yes, they've only won the Premier League once, but they've been in multiple European finals. They've gone toe-to-toe with Man City over previous leagues. And people are surprised that they've gone on a run and are challenging for top 4 now. Yet they're the same players. Yes, they might have not been performing well, but I feel like it's actually not down to the players. I think it's down to Jurgen Klopp. I feel like Jurgen Klopp is such a brilliant manager, and he's literally grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and be like, right, I'm not playing in Europa League next season. I don't work that way. We get Champions League football. One of the teams are going to slip. All we need to do is do what we can do, and that's win every single game. And I would not be surprised if Liverpool are challenging for the league next season, because I think it's just been a blip season for them because of how much they've been, how dominant they've been. They're probably knackered. They've lost Sadio Mane, a massive piece of their chess set. Like Sadio Mane is pretty much like the knight or the queen piece of the chess. Like, he helps the way Liverpool was so dominant. Anyway, let's have a look. Caden, thank you for commenting, pal. City will win the league. Yeah, it's guaranteed, pretty much, pal. I mean, I'm pretty sure City will win probably one of the next 3 matches. They'll probably wait until the next home game and just so they can lift the trophy then and there. Phoenix as well, and City have a double game week. Well, there you go then. So I'm pretty sure you want Captain Haaland if you play Fantasy Premier League. And Simon, yes, Dan, you're honest. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But yeah, let's get back to the sale update, and just reading it from the Daily Mail now. And it does say that there's still not guarantee on who the leader is in the sale of Manchester United, but it does see that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the favourite to sign Manchester United as the new owner. So for me, I feel like that. I mean, I've already explained it. That that with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, that I prefer the Qataris over Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But at the end of the day, I feel like both of them have holes in their vision, and not everyone's always going to be satisfied with what happens with this when the sale is over and done with. So I kind of want to just ask the comments now. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Would you rather the Qataris or Sir Jim Ratcliffe? You might not know what's going on. You might know what's going on. But would you prefer the Qataris or Sir Jim Ratcliffe as the Manchester United new owner? Like, I've already explained it, but pretty much we know that the Qataris are ready to invest with money straight away. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe financially isn't as rich as the Qataris, but you know that he's going to be better than GLAZERS. So who would you rather? I mean, Phoenix just messaged it, neither personally. So again, pal, who would you rather? So if you can't think of the Qataris or Sir Jim Ratcliffe, let me know who you think that is in the comment below. And Felix as well as also said, I was about to say they've lost Mane, who's a vital player for Liverpool. He is, pal. And unfortunately, he's leaving Bayern Munich in the summer. So it wouldn't be surprised me, honestly, if Sadio Mane might go back to Liverpool. I don't think he would. I think he'd probably suit a Barcelona or something, maybe try out Spain. I'm not too sure, but, you know, with the whole sale update, there's not too much to go off apart from GLAZERS have delayed it. and it's very frustrating. But as well, that actually, no, I'm telling a lie. Something came in last night. Let me find it. Mark Goldbridge tweeted it. By the way, Mark Goldbridge, if you're ever watching this, you're an absolute legend, and I'd love to meet you one day. But where is it? Mark Goldbridge. Let me find it. 1 second. There it is. So Mark Goldbridge turned around and tweeted, and the United Stand also tweeted that the QATAR'S or Sheikh Jassim is looking at making an 11th hour bid to try and finalise and secure Manchester United. So it shows that the QATAR'S are not out of this race. And if they are as rich as the reports make them out to be, or as they say they are, and they have these billions and billions of pounds to invest into Manchester United, you'll pay the money. If you want Manchester United that badly and you want to make us dominant again, then you pay the money. That's where their hole is in their vision, in my opinion. Because for me, I feel like that they're very rich and they can buy Manchester United and make them great like that. But they're saying that they're already overpaying for Manchester United. But if you want Manchester United that badly, you'll pay the 5 or 6 billion what the Glazers are asking for. But that's just my opinion. And I think that whoever becomes the new manager, only things get better, in my opinion. Phoenix, Ryan Reynolds, but that's wishful thinking. I mean, Ryan Reynolds would be amazing as Manchester United owner, but again, I don't fancy Old Trafford being a part of Deadpool 3 getting absolutely blown up by aliens, to be honest. But no, Ryan Reynolds, I don't think he's financially rich enough to be Manchester United owner. I think he's doing a brilliant job at Wrexham, and I feel like that at some point in the next 10 years, I would not be surprised if Wrexham end up in the Premier League at some point. I'm not saying they're going to win the Premier League, but I'd say give him 5 to 10 years, and I would not be surprised if we see Wrexham either challenging for the Championship title or in the playoffs of the Championship going into the Premier League. Because I feel like that Wrexham are already a club that's run really well. Obviously, we'll see how we do in League 2 next season. But I personally feel like with Ryan Reynolds, I just think that he's a very decent, decent owner for Wrexham at the time being. Are you able to send the link? What link do you mean, pal? I'm not too sure. And Simon as well. Things together. So I appreciate that message, pal. And yeah, pretty much. Let me just see if. Let me just quickly find it. 1 second. 1 second, guys. Have you got the link, Thomas? 1 second, pal. What do you mean? Anyway, guys. While I'm just waiting for that response, let's quickly to join this live if it's too late. Yeah, mate, I'll send you a quick invite. 1 sec, pal. 1 second. Let me find you. 1 second, pal. I'll send it you on your Twitter. 1 second. Am I still live? Yeah, right. You might not be able to hear me. 1 second, guys. No, pal, I can't seem to send it at the moment. Sorry, pal. But yeah, pretty much. Let's talk about what we learned against West Ham. Against Wolves. So we'll talk about 5 things. So if you are interested in this little segment of the show, what we'll do is we'll talk about 5 things we learned from Wolves. And for me, I firstly feel like Varane, it's crucial having him back, and hopefully he can stay fit till the end of the season. 2, Martial. I feel like Martial as well. We always play better when Martial is in the team, but the thing is that of how injury prone he is, and unfortunately, that's always been a part of Martial's game. He's very injury prone, and at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about it. But I feel like that we've got to just be, I'm not saying smashing teams, but we've got to be putting the game to bed before Martial goes off, because it's evident that Martial cannot play a full 90 minutes. So United need to be putting the game to bed 2 or 3-0 before Martial goes off, really, because I feel like the link-up play, the possession, the speed in attack, Martial makes everything better. And I feel like as soon as you bring Wout Weghorst on, the standards automatically drop, the quality automatically drops, and then you're struggling, and then you're relying on a player like Garnacho in the 93rd minute to completely catch out the Wolves defence because they're going for goal. They're completely open, and then Garnacho gets a great ball from Bruno Fernandes and scores. Speaking of Garnacho, I'm also going to mention him as well. 5 things we learned from Wolves. That Garnacho's also back, and that will be massive to Manchester United season. And I'm so happy that he didn't go to the World Cup under 20s, because with Rashford being injured, I'm pretty sure Garnacho went home last night and was like, right, okay, I can come on here and be a superstar. I can come on and make a difference. I can come on and make teams worried. And with Rashford being out injured, I've kind of got a guaranteed chance of actually succeeding at Manchester United. No worries. I think if Garnacho continues playing the way he is coming off the bench, he'll replace Martial in the starting 11. I wouldn't say he would, because I feel like they're complete different players, and that's just my opinion. I personally feel like that Garnacho and Martial are way too different players, and I feel like Garnacho's just not physical enough and doesn't have a good enough balance to be a main striker yet. So I would keep him on the left-hand side and challenging Jadon Sancho for that spot while Rashford is currently out injured. But even though I prefer Garnacho to Sancho, I feel like that as soon as Garnacho comes on that pitch, no matter if he's starting or whether that he's coming off as a substitution, something always happens. And I feel like that's why so many fans have been hooked towards him. It's not just the name, it's not just the nationality. It's the fact that he's proven that when he comes on the pitch, he wants to make the difference, and that's what you want to see. You want to see that hunger, you want to see that stubbornness, that arrogance from a player, because that kind of trait in players nowadays is fading, and it's unfortunate to see. But when you've got a player like Garnacho, like, the world's at his feet. Like, he could become any player he wanted to be, especially under Erik ten Hag, and hopefully he becomes a Manchester United superstar. I'll talk about Eriksen, and it's not something it's kind of like something we learn, and I feel like that having a player like Eriksen is very topsy-turvy. And if you've been a subscriber of this channel for a while now, you know my opinion on Eriksen. I think he's a brilliant playmaker, but he's a defensive liability. And I feel like this is why with Eriksen, it's crucial for Manchester United to get a proper physical box-to-box midfielder, a player that can create and challenge at the same time. And I feel like Eriksen, maybe this, excuse me, maybe this is why we're seeing Casemiro drop in form, because he's exhausted doing all the defensive work because Eriksen won't do it. And that's might be why we're actually missing the proper Casemiro right now. And this is probably why our away record is so bad, because we play Eriksen and Bruno, pretty much two attacking midfielders who don't do enough defensive work, and you're relying on Casemiro. So for me, I feel like this is why Manchester United need this type of player, whether it's a Caicedo, a Declan Rice, a Frankie de Jong. If it's a player like them, then I feel like with them type of players, what can happen is that Manchester United can become automatically better, especially from away form, because when you're going away from home, it's hard enough because obviously you've got the opposition crowd behind, against you, and they want to win at home. So, I mean, like they said, the crowd is like the 12th man in a football game. So I feel like United having that extra defensive type player, or that extra physical type player, would be very impactful, especially when United are on the road, and it would help us out a lot more, in my opinion. Now, I'm not sure what player we would get, but that's for a different video. But anyway, we've talked. Obviously we talked about Varane, we've talked about Martial, Eriksen, Garnacho. I'll say this is a positive, actually. This, the fifth thing we learn is that it's a positive. That top 4 is back on. And Manchester United, realistically, we need 6 points from our next possible 9. So I want Manchester United to win all the games. And I'll tell you why winning all games would be perfect. Because 1, it guarantees us Champions League football. 2, our next game after Fulham, which is the final game of the season, we have Man City within 5 days, or I think it might be 4 or 5 days until we have Man City in the FA Cup final. So can you imagine, let's say, right, Manchester United beat Bournemouth, we beat Chelsea, and then we lose to Fulham. And then in 5 days, we have to play our dominant Man City side, who are probably going to be in the Champions League final, and on for a treble. They're going to be hungry for it, and they're going to want to absolutely annihilate us. And Manchester United need to have the confidence, and we need to have the anger and aggression to take on Man City and take home the FA Cup and continue our record of being the team that's won the most FA Cups in England. So, Phoenix, thank you for your pal. What things do you think United need to do against Bournemouth? And is there any players you'd rest before the FA Cup final? For me, I'd say no. I'd say that kind of Erik ten Hag needs to do what he's already doing. And I say that not rushing back players. Hopefully Rashford's fit in time. But I'd say not be rushing Rashford back. I'd say kind of doing what you do with Martial and Varane and gradually bring them back. And hopefully they can start playing a full 90 minutes. But yeah, right now, I'd say that just keep doing what we're doing. And I don't think I'd make any changes, honestly. I think it's just down to the actual players' decision making is kind of why Man United are struggling scoring goals as well. I mean, Antony yesterday, within the first 5 minutes, I mean, I mentioned this in the match reaction, but Antony could have made it 1-0 to Martial within the first 5 minutes, chose to take the shot, and that's been very frustrating with Antony this season. I do think he's a very brilliant player. I explain and describe Antony as a diamond in the rough. And I feel like that he's already got the traits to be a brilliant diamond almost, and a shining diamond. But I feel like as well is that he needs to stop being the hero. He needs to start laying off his passes more, because I feel like that once he starts building these relationships with Martial, Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen, then eventually, as soon as he makes a pass and goes on a run, then he might find the ball at his feet again within literally like as soon as he passes it, just so he can move into space. And he might score a goal, he might create a goal. And I feel like that Antony has had a brilliant debut season, because it's very hard to come in with the price tag that you've come into. And yes, he's only scored, I think it's 8 goals, and he's got 3 assists, or it might be 9 goals and 3 assists. I know it's 3 assists, but I'm not sure if it's 8 goals or 9 goals that he's scored this season. But with Antony, I feel like you can't criticise him, but I'm going to make a video soon, and let me know if you'd like to see this in the next week or wait until the end of the season. But I'm going to do 2 shows. I'm going to do a show about rating every single Manchester United player's season. And I'm also going to do a separate video, or I can also include it in the same video, with Erik ten Hag signings and how they performed. So I'm looking forward to that video, because I feel like that'll be quite an interesting stream. So if anyone would like to get involved in that, message me on Twitter, Facebook. If you've got my number, just message me in general. But yeah, that's been today's stream. And I feel like that, obviously, with Phoenix's question, is that do you think, what things do you think United need to do against Bournemouth? I feel like, one, be careful of Billing and their striker, because I feel like that they're probably their dangerous players. I mean, Billing is a midfielder and he's their top goal scorer. So I feel like conceding early is the worst thing that can happen, because we are away from home. And as we know, United's form away from home has not been the best. So I feel like with Bournemouth, trying for us to try and score early, or trying to finish the game off early, is the best way for Manchester United to try and win the game. We can get 1 goal and then sit back and just let them come at us, because Bournemouth were in the relegation battle 2 months ago, and now they're mid-table. And that just shows you what happens when you can go on a run. And Bournemouth are a team that we can't underestimate, especially when it's, again, another massive crucial game for us to get Champions League football. Phoenix dream. I don't think City will make Champions League final personally. I mean, that's your opinion, pal. But I feel like that with Man City being at the Etihad, I don't think Real Madrid have got enough. They didn't play well against Chelsea. They somehow got a draw against Man City. I mean, both teams didn't play well, but for me, Real Madrid, that Vinicius Junior goal, apart from that goal, what other main chances did they have? For me, not many. So for me, I feel like that Man City can completely turn them over. And I would not be surprised if it ends probably 3-1 Man City, or maybe a 3-0 Man City as well. Actually, Felix just made another comment. Antony is a hit or miss kind of player. He's an amazing player, but needs to improve and pass more instead of trying to be a hero. That's exactly what I've just said, pal. I mean, Antony, again, I feel like he can become a brilliant player for Manchester United, but at the end of the day, I feel like that he also is very inconsistent at times as well, and he does need to start improving and maybe being that just going the extra mile and try and be selfless and not being selfish. But anyway, guys, thank you for everyone that is tuned in today's stream. Thank you for everyone for the comments. I really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone for watching, and